Hola, ¿cómo están? Espero que estén súper bien. Yo soy Liz y bienvenidos otra vez a mi canal. Si eres nuevo, no olvides suscribirte dando clic al botón rojo que está aquí abajito y a la campanita para que no te pierdas ningún video nuevo. Bienvenidos al día 9 del mes paranormal. Este mes estoy subiendo videos todos los días a las 3:33 p.m. hora de México. El día de hoy vamos a ver un caso de TikTok que me han estado mandando mucho. Sé que está muy interesante porque es sobre los montes Apalaches, un tema que últimamente me están pidiendo mucho, así que vamos a ver de qué trata. Este caso lo pueden encontrar en la cuenta de TikTok @LXSTR_. Se llama Alex, tiene 18,000 seguidores y 710,000 likes. El primer video donde empezó todo esto lo subió el 20 de agosto y dice: si alguien sabe qué es esto o qué puedo hacer al respecto, por favor avísame porque estoy empezando a asustarme.
Okay, so I live in the Appalachian Mountains. I rent my house, and I don't know if I have a ghost or if it's some kind of Appalachian folklore that has been fucking with me, but there is no human explanation for this, so... And I have my theories, but buckle up. So for some context, I only moved out here because one, it is way cheaper than where I was living previously, and two, I have friends down the road. So like I'm not out here completely alone, but I do live by myself and it is just me and my dog. So within a week of moving in, I deep cleaned this house. And in doing that, I also Windexed the exterior windows. They all had a film of pollen on them and I wanted to be able to see out my windows. Within a week of Windexing the exterior windows, and mind you, I am the only one that has been in and out of the house. I'm sitting in my living room and I'm looking out the window and the sun is hitting the window in just the right way that I noticed two giant handprints on the outside of the window. So this handprint right here, like you can see it a little bit, that's what spooked me. And then so I went outside to investigate because I was like, what the fuck? Like I just cleaned these windows and I know that no one has been here and they were fresh prints. Clearly these were fresh. This is the right hand and this one's the left. And no one had been at my house. And I know that nobody tried to break in because I have a Ring camera on that entrance. And in order to get to this window, you have to walk past the Ring camera. This is the layout of the deck. So right here is the door and there's my camera right there mounted. And this is the staircase leading up to the deck. And this is the only entrance to the deck. And then where the window is along this couch right here. So whatever it was that tried to push open that window somehow got past that camera. And mind you, the camera's view goes to like right before that mat. So there's no like army crawling past it. Like if you come up that staircase, you are passing that camera. Like I don't know. So that whole situation kind of freaked me out a little bit, but I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna gaslight myself and pretend that didn't happen. So I kind of just let it go. And I was like, you know what, that was weird, but maybe it was a fluke. So about a month or so after that happened, I went out of town for 5 or 6 days. And before I left, I made sure every light in the house was off because I'm not paying for that. So upon my return, it was dark outside and I could see from the street before I even pulled up my driveway that one of the guest room lights was on. And based on the light that I saw, I knew it was a lamp. So it wasn't like a switch where maybe I accidentally flicked it on instead of off. Like, no, it was a lamp. You have to crank it. So I am shitting a brick and I pull up my driveway. I call my mom because in case I die, like I don't know who I'm about to walk in on in my house. I go inside and there was nothing. There was no one, nothing. And I was like, that's weird. But once again, what did I do? I gaslit myself and I was like, well, maybe there was like some kind of shortage and it turned the lamp on. Like, no. So after that happened, nothing weird happened for a while. Like it was a good few months. And then in the springtime, I installed string lights on my outside deck. Again, I went out of town and I come home and not only was the same guest bedroom light on, but the string lights were magically plugged in and they were on. I gotta stop coming home when it's dark outside. So again, I FaceTime my mom and I'm like, the string lights are on and the guest bedroom light is on. I know they were off and I know the string lights were not plugged in. Freaking out, whatever. I go inside, check the house, no one, nothing, no explanation for it. And I'm like, well, shit, because that definitely wasn't a power surge unless the power surge levitated a plug into the wall to turn on the string lights. Also, I have cameras inside my house. I have a camera in the living room and I have a camera in the kitchen. Both of those cameras face entrances, so no one came in the house and there was nothing inside that at least the camera picked up on. So after all of that happened, I just kind of accepted the fact that my house is haunted. And I was like, you know what, whatever, maybe we can be homies. He hasn't killed me yet, so maybe we're cool. A month or so later, I had my landlord here. He was fixing the smoke detectors and stuff. And he lives in the house behind mine. I could walk through my backyard to his house. Him and his wife lived there. They lived there for quite some time. And so I asked him, I was like, this weird shit's been going on. Like, do you know anything about it? Do you know any history on the house? And he was like, nah, like, we just kind of bought it sight unseen. It went up for sale. We thought it was a good opportunity, whatever. So I took it upon myself to do some digging. And sure enough, the person that owned it before my landlords died in the house. I read his obituary and it was like, so-and-so died in the house, surrounded by family, blah, 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 whatever. And the guy was old. It was nothing like crazy. No one was murdered. But he was in the Marine Corps. He was from Texas. He was a Bible thumper. And I was like, great. Like, my gay ass is being hate crime from the dead. But then I got curious because based on this guy's obituary, I wanted to know more about his background. So I looked up his kids because they were listed in the obituary. I wanted to see if any of them were still local to the area or if it was just like a one-off. I don't know why he was in fucking Appalachia. But sure enough, his son still lives in the area, and I went on his Facebook to see if I could find information about his dad who died in my house. And as I'm looking on the son's Facebook, there are pictures of the son with my landlord. So now my landlord's a liar because he did know the history of the house and he did know that someone died in it because it was his friend's dad. I'm already stuck in the lease, so like, whether you tell me or not, I'm not moving. I don't know why you weren't just honest, but anyway, so that happened. And I hear creepy shit in this house all the time. I'll hear doors creaking, but I'm like, oh, it's a draft. Or I'll hear tapping on the window, and I'm like, cool, it's a bug. Like, I can just gaslight myself and it's fine. And it never really sets my dog off either. Like, the worst she'll do is just... And at most, it's for 3 minutes. And I hate when she fucking does it, because I'm like, okay, he's here in the room with us, but you're not barking, so he must be friendly, right? So after the string light incident, there was another dormant period from like May to July where nothing really weird happened outside of the shit that I hear on a daily basis. But then there was this one night in the middle of July, and my dog sleeps in my bedroom with me, because I do not subject her to what goes on in the rest of the house in the dark, because if I don't want to be out there, I'm not going to make her be out there. So we sleep in my room. But this one night in the middle of July, she woke up at 3 a.m, and her hair was standing straight up on her back, and she was going berserk at whatever was on the other side of my bedroom door. And I was like, oh fuck no. So I get up and I lock the bedroom door. And as I'm locking it, I heard the loudest crash coming from somewhere in the house. Immediately, I check all the cameras, outside, inside, and there is nothing. But I was not about to go investigate that in the dark, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, the bedroom door is locked, let's just like sit here frozen in fear, because what else are we to do? And on that particular night, I had done all of my dishes, and like the sink was clean, there was nothing on the drying mat except for 2 Yeti tumbler cups, and they're like metal cups. So the next morning, I am going around the house and like, what could have crashed? Because it literally sounded like a TV fell over. It was so loud. And that's when I walked over to the sink. And in the sink, there were 2 Yeti tumbler cups sitting up perfectly. Like someone had placed them there. And where the drying mat is in relation to my sink, it was not physically possible for those Yeti cups to roll over from the drying mat into the sink and then somehow magically land straight up side by side next to each other. Like, no, something placed them there. And I don't know why it was that loud, but it was. I was making this video last night and then I got creeped out, so I'm just finishing it right now. So like I said, all of that happened in like mid-July, so about a month ago. And then 2 weeks after it happened, I was at my friend's house down the road, and they know about all this spooky stuff that goes on in my house. So we're sitting there talking, catching up, and they were like, oh, what's the latest ghost story? Because I always have one. And then I proceeded to tell them about what happened with the cups. So I tell them this story, and then later that night I go back home, and coincidentally enough, that night I had done the dishes, and I had placed a Yeti tumbler cup, a metal cup, on the drying mat, and the sink was completely clean. And just for a quick reference so you can understand what I'm talking about, this is where the cup was, and this is where the sink is. So keep that in mind. Then later that night, I woke up at 3 in the morning to my dog going berserk, and it was the same thing that happened before. But at the time, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. All I knew is that my dog was going crazy. I locked my bedroom door, and then I heard a loud crash somewhere in the house, and I still didn't put 2 and 2 together. So the next morning, I am looking around the house. I'm like, what the hell could have crashed? And then it dawns on me, look in the sink. Sure enough, the Yeti cup that was sitting on the drying mat was sitting up in the sink. And like, what are the odds that the night that I tell this story, it happens again in the exact same manner? So now I'm thinking like, well shit, did it follow me to my friend's house and hear me tell this story and then intentionally try and freak me out again? So now I don't know if it's a ghost, a spooky Appalachian creature, or all of the above. Like, I don't know. So help me.
Ok, definitivamente hay algo, está extraño todo esto que está viviendo en su casa, pero lo que sí me hizo más fuerte, más raro, es el hecho de que su casero haya negado conocer la historia de la casa, porque no sé ustedes qué opinen, pero para mí, si no tuviera nada de malo, pues hubiera dicho la verdad. Y si está ocultando la verdad, tal vez sea porque hay algo malo o sabe algo que no quiere que se sepa. Entonces creo que es probable que alguien más ya haya tenido este tipo de experiencias dentro de esa casa y por eso es que el casero lo negó, para evitar que se quisiera ir de la casa o algo así. No sé, pero vamos a ver el siguiente video. El siguiente lo subió el 20 de agosto y dice: parte 2 de mi vida en las espeluznantes montañas Apalaches. Ayuda.
So the last video that I made of everything that has gone on inside of my house, that's really just like the major events. And I did my research before moving here. Like, I don't fuck with that spooky shit, so I did my research on the Appalachian Mountains, okay? And like, I'm not kidding, like that window's covered, those windows are covered. Like, when it gets dark, I'm not looking outside, no. But genuinely, like, what rattles me the most are those handprints, and here's why. So if you look at this, I measured the window from bottom to top, whatever. It's 2 feet tall, right? And if you look at this handprint, it takes up the greater majority of the window. So like, it was huge. And when I first moved in, I would hear scratching in the walls, and it went on every day for almost a few months. And I just chalked it up to like, okay, it's an animal. So I had my landlord send an exterminator out here, and they didn't find anything. They checked the attic, they checked the walls, they checked the crawl space under the house, and there was nothing. So looking back at those handprints, I don't like that. And I have seen so many videos where people talk about how skinwalkers can pose as animals. And a few weeks ago, I'm sitting on my living room couch, it's probably about 1 in the morning, and the curtains were closed, and I heard a loud crash on my deck. So I opened up my Ring camera, and there was a cat on my deck. So the cat jumped this gate, and the crash that I heard was the cat trying to get to the window, and the cat's right here. And it jumped on the couch, fell off the furniture, knocked the cushions off, and I had some of them sitting up vertically because it had rained. But it was trying to get to the window. And as much as that freaked me out, I was like, you know what, fuck it. So I opened up the curtains because I wanted to see this fucking cat. Turned on the deck lights, opened up the curtains, and this cat was looking through me. Like, it looked like it wanted me dead. And so immediately shut the curtains, cut the cameras, absolutely the fuck not. And if you know me, then you know that I'm the first person to take in a stray animal. Whether it's a dog, a cat, like, you're coming home with me, we're figuring it out, and like, we'll find you a home, or we'll take you to the shelter, whatever. But having all of these previous events in mind, because this happened August 5th, this was a few weeks ago. Having all of these previous events in mind, I will be damned before I am bamboozled by a skinwalker cat. Absolutely not. And like, all of this shit could be coincidental, like, because my worst fear is it being some kind of Appalachian creature. I would much rather it be a ghost, because that is way easier to deal with. Like, I'm not experienced in that, but I feel pretty confident that I can handle a ghost. If it's a creature, I'm fucked. Granted, I haven't heard the typical, like, whistling, someone calling your name, like, all of that, like, spooky Appalachian lore. But I have heard whispering, I have heard talking, I have heard shit turned on when it's not on. Like, I heard the TV on the other night, and I came out to turn it off, and it was off. So to me, that speaks paranormal, but all of that, like with the cat and the handprint and then like whatever it was, either coincidental or not, I don't know, but following me to my friend's house and listening to me tell that story and then doing it again that very night. So overall, it's either a ghost or it's a creature, or I have both of them, and I just drew the short straw, whatever. But maybe I'm just being naive, but right now I'm just gonna treat it like it's a ghost and go from there. Cause I cannot handle it being something else. I don't even know what I would do. So if anyone knows a witch, hit me up. Like, it's spooky, but I'm in this lease until May, so I gotta ride it out.
Ok, le quedan 7-8 meses más o menos en esa casa. Yo la verdad no creo que el gatito tenga algo que ver, más bien pues se dio cuenta de que había alguien asomado en la ventana y por eso se quedó mirando. Pues es normal, los gatos son súper curiosos, entonces yo la verdad no lo veo extraño. Lo de las manos sí, lo de los ruidos, lo de los termos, todas estas cosas sí, además de que vive en los Montes Apalaches, que menciona que sí investigó antes de mudarse ahí, pero pues al parecer no le importó todas las historias que hay de este lugar. Lo que yo estaba pensando es como una teoría, digamos, es que exista la posibilidad de que haya alguien viviendo en su casa. Hemos visto de hecho aquí en el canal creo que 2 historias en las que descubren a alguien viviendo dentro de una casa sin que las otras personas lo sepan. La verdad da mucho miedo eso, no sería algo paranormal, pero es bastante aterrador porque me parece extraño lo de los vasos y como que coincide con el tipo de cosas, comportamientos que experimentaron esas personas que descubrieron a alguien, a un extraño viviendo en sus casas. Les recuerdo que pueden encontrar esta y todas las playeras que uso en mis videos en Instagram, @cositas.bonitas00. El siguiente video lo subió el 30 de agosto y dice, no tengo más que decir.
Okay, so just to clear the air, it is not a person, it is not my landlord, and I will tell you why. So first of all, the attic. I have been in the attic, I've looked in the attic, and I've never even heard noise in the attic. But the only thing in the attic is insulation and a catwalk. There is nothing up there. Number 2, there is nobody getting in through the basement because I don't have a basement. I have a crawl space. My house is raised up, and there is a crawl space underneath the house, and I've been in there, and there's nothing. That leads me to my third point. Because my house is raised up, the windows are very high off the ground. In order to get into my house through the window, you would have to have at least a 15-foot ladder. Also, if someone did come in through the window, I would know because I have seals around all of my windows. When I first moved in, I had a bug problem and I had a draft problem. So I put seals along the windows, and it is not possible to open up the windows without those seals being disturbed, and none of them are disturbed. Regarding my landlords, they are very nice people. Him and his wife, I've never had an issue with them. They've always been super kind to me, super helpful with anything that I've needed. I just think they didn't disclose that information to me because they want me to renew my lease. Obviously, if they tell me that, oh yeah, by the way, someone died and the house is haunted, I'm not going to want to renew my lease. And they've told me before that this is one of their harder properties to rent out because it's so tucked away. And they have multiple properties. But they don't want to have to look for a new tenant, which I completely understand. So I don't think they were being super shady. I just think that's the reasoning behind it. As for the cameras on the inside of my house, I have them set up so that I can see movement anywhere throughout the house. And the problem is they only pick up on movement with animals and people. So if a cup moves or a pillow falls over or whatever, it's not going to pick up on that and it won't start recording. I can open it up and see a live view, but by the time I heard the crash, it had already happened, so I don't know. Also, the cameras that I have notify me when a signal is blocked, and they're not turning off because of bad signal, so I know that nothing's blocking it. And to my next point, the cameras are mine. I installed them, I pay for the subscriptions, they're my accounts, my landlords don't have access to them, nobody has access to the cameras except for me. So, no. And to my final point, if anyone is stupid enough to come out into the middle of the woods and try and break into someone's house, especially out here, good luck. So in case you missed it, I'm being haunted by some kind of spooky woo-woo shit, and this is part 4. It is not my landlord, it is some kind of fucking creature. Let me explain why. My neighbor who lives down the road from me sent me this message. I'm gonna read this aloud for the class, so just bear with me here. Hey, I know this is random, but I was on TikTok just now and your video about the handprint on your window popped up on my For You page. My jaw was dropped because I've been trying to solve the mystery of how I got a huge, long-fingered handprint on the outside of my bedroom window. And then she goes on to say, you can see the fingerprints in the pollen because there's no way for me to get on the backside of that window to clean it. So if you touch it, it leaves a mark. My bedroom is on the 2nd story and we don't have a staircase, a ladder, or a deck on that side or any possible way for somebody to get that high up. I also have cameras on all 4 sides of my house, and the day after this happened, I checked everything and could not figure it out for the life of me, and it was only one hand. The fingerprints are so long, it is so creepy, and it looks exactly like the one that you posted a picture of. I have lived up here for 10 years and have not experienced anything creepy other than that. but I wanted to share it with you because it felt so relatable and we were just down the street from each other. Bigfoot, I tried to take a picture, but it's hard to see it during the day. It's in my bottom left. And then she attached 2 pictures. Hang on. So this is the first picture, and you can see it right here. Like a long, giant handprint. Like, the fuck?
Como la de él.
And then this is the second picture she sent me, which is a little bit more clear, but like, it's the exact same one. You cannot fucking tell me otherwise. Sorry. And I asked her when all this happened, because I was curious to know if it was the same timeline, and sure as shit, it was 8 months ago, which is around the same timeline that it happened to me. So, I don't know if Bigfoot was lurking around the corner or something, but that's not a coincidence. I also asked her if I could post about this, and she replied, yeah, sure, lol, tried to get a better pic, blah, 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 blah. I will not be giving any of her information out, so don't even go there. But, yeah, she agrees that it's a handprint, so, I mean, the proof is in the pollen.
Bueno, yo la verdad nunca dudé que pareciera una mano la que está en la ventana de su casa, pero definitivamente coincide con la mano que está en la ventana, o estuvo en la ventana de la vecina. Es una mano bastante grande, como dice, con los dedos muy largos, y en el caso de la ventana de la vecina dice que es el segundo piso en la parte de atrás de la casa y que ni siquiera ella podría poner esa mano ahí porque no tiene cómo llegar a esa parte de la ventana, porque pues está en un segundo piso por fuera. Pues no sé si haya sido una gran idea irse a los Montes Apalaches. ¿Quién sabe dónde vivía antes? O sea, sí dijo que era más caro que en los Montes Apalaches y por eso había elegido ese lugar, pero creo que no dijo dónde vivía antes. Vamos a ver el siguiente video. El siguiente video lo subió el 25 de septiembre, casi un mes después. Me parece interesante resaltar esto porque muchas veces en este tipo de casos que se viralizan, pues como que la gente se aprovecha de la situación y empiezan a exprimir el tema a más no poder, sobre todo en Estados Unidos, que allá sí les pagan por las visualizaciones en sus TikToks, pero al parecer no es el caso, no le interesa exprimir el tema, simplemente pues es real que está experimentando esto y está tratando de encontrar una explicación. Este video dice: probablemente solo voy a coexistir con mis compañeros de casa no deseados, pero está bien, estoy bien, y está respondiendo al video de una mujer. Vamos a ver qué dice.
Alex's skill set is just coming out and acting, and it's creating a barrier.
So this woman's video pretty much confirms everything that I believed. About 2 weeks ago, I had paranormal investigators come out to the house to see if we could figure out what's been going on. They went throughout the house and they didn't really pick up on anything, so I took them to the crawl space, and that's when shit started popping off. And I didn't go down there and join them. I was not about to do that. I just let them in and they were doing their thing, and they were down there for almost 2 hours. And so basically what happened was the crawl space runs underneath the entirety of the house, and from floor to ceiling it's about, I would say, 5 feet. So there's walking room down there. And in the back corners of the house, they picked up on like 2 different entities, or this is what they told me, because like I said, I was not about to be a part of that. Anyway, so while they were down there, they were able to communicate with these 2 entities that they believed to be down there, and they said that one of them seemed more playful and the other one seemed more dark. Now, they said that the playful one is likely the one that's been coming in the house and fucking with me, because it's some kind of sick joke, I guess. And basically, that one is more of like a ghost. They couldn't determine if it was like a little boy or a little girl or what, but something is coming in and like pulling these little pranks and like messing with me, and it feeds off of my reaction to it. So the more scared I am, the more it's gonna do it because they think it's funny. Now, the darker entity, they really couldn't get a read on, and they weren't sure what it was, like if it was even a person. But that one, they said, seems to stay dormant underneath the house. Which, like, that's fine with me. Stay down there, because I don't hang out down there. That's the dirt. And these people that came here weren't mediums by any means, I don't believe. I think they were just paranormal investigators as far as I could tell. But similar to what this woman is saying, they also believed that the darker entity under the house is more antagonistic than it is a threat. And as long as it's not inside the house, then I'm fine. But they just said it seemed very disgruntled, and it might just be best to leave that one. Now the dog is growling, that's great. So anyway, I have taken these past 2 weeks to kind of just ingest the information that I received and try and figure out what I want to do about this, because my concern is if I get rid of the ghost, that is, I could probably easily get rid of, is that gonna piss off the creature? Like, is the creature losing its friend? Is that what is keeping the creature at bay? Like, he has a little playmate down there? Because if that's the case, then they can both stay. My biggest concern is that creature thing coming inside, because I really don't want that. And, I mean, just now I'm talking about getting rid of it, and the dog growled. So, I think it wants to stay. But if it would be harmless to just get rid of the ghost and the creature's just still down there being miserable, that's not my problem. So, by all means, this woman, she offered to get rid of things in my house. Get rid of whatever you think is best, and if you think it's best to just leave it, then just leave it. And I think also those paranormal investigators going down there, I think that ticked them off a little bit, because after they left that night, it was about 9:30, and I was in my living room, and the door to the crawl space is wood, and it's about that thick. And so in the summertime, and when it's warm out, the wood expands, and it's harder to pull open that door. And you can really hear when someone's trying to pull on it or like bang on it, especially if you're in the house because the walls are so thin. Anyway, I was sitting on my couch, 9:30 at night, and this is maybe 3 hours after these people left, and I hear banging. Like, it was like 5 or 6 bangs on the crawl space door below me. And I was like, oh, fuck no. And mind you, I had never heard that noise before. So to me, that was like a warning. Like, do not mess with me or I'm coming in. And so I haven't gone down there since. Like, the door is shut and locked. Like, absolutely not. So I'm just kind of unsure of what to do. Like, I feel like at this rate, it's probably best to just leave it. But if it would be harmless to get rid of something, then get rid of it, because it's fucking spooky.
A ver, vamos a ver qué fue lo que dijo en ese video la mujer. Ok, ella, su cuenta de TikTok es @BehindTheHauntings y esto lo subió el 18 de septiembre.
Starters, we want to listen to Alex's intuition. They are very familiar with their connection with animals, their love for animals, how they communicate with animals. So when Alex is noticing that something is off with this cat, we trust that and listen to that. And we feel that because they know the difference. I know Alex mentioned they're hoping it's a ghost. I don't feel like it's a ghost. I feel like there may be something else going on. But here's the other interesting part. Even though Alex says they're a little bit new to this paranormal stuff, or that's not really their thing, they actually have a very grounded presence that is very good at keeping anything paranormal at bay. So I'm not feeling this being crossing over into Alex's territory. I feel like Alex, okay, so this is interesting about our psychic skill sets. Whether we believe in them or not, or know about them or not, they're there. So a psychic skill set Alex has is the ability to set up really strong parameters and borders. And they can do that for themselves and actually for other people. And when we aren't fully aware of our psychic skill sets, they will still come out whether we're controlling them or not, right? In this moment, Alex's skill set is just coming out and acting, and it's creating a barrier. So whatever we have going on here in this house, Alex's barrier is keeping it at bay. So I don't feel like there should be any fear or concern. Is there going to be activity? Yes. Is that avoidable? Well, if Alex decides to remove these beings, it will probably stop some of it. What would be really helpful is to do a walkthrough with Alex, and we can get a little bit deeper. There's something outside, and that something that's outside has been out there before this house was built. And that something that lives out there moves through the land. It's not something that is specific to the home. Go to feel that handprint. That is like a creature is the only word that comes to me, okay? But it is something that comes in and out of body. It is not like something physical, like a raccoon, or, you know, this is something that comes in and out of body. I'm honestly kind of hesitant to go too deep into it because it's feeling crazy dark and strong. Its intention is not to, though, like, harm others, but you have to stay out of its way. The handprint was it making itself known to Alex. But again, I'm feeling Alex setting, whether they realize it or not, there is a barrier set up. And I want to address what's going on in the house, like hearing things turn on, scratching noises. There's somebody in there. So you've got not just what's going on outside, which I think may just be like a situation with the land itself, but you've got someone inside, and that someone should be removed. But also that someone isn't dangerous, that someone's a nuisance, and that someone is also wanting to be heard and seen. And I feel like the best approach with this someone is to remove them. Female, agitated, angry. Like, I feel like they're still mad at their spouse, and they're, you know, like doing things to piss off their spouse. And so all the strange noises and stuff is coming from there. The only thing I would say that isn't coming from this person, this spirit, is the scratching. That feels separate. But any other noises that Alex is experiencing inside the home, like just incidental things that are annoying, like the TV or walking around, that's this female who's mad at their spouse and like doing stuff just to piss them off, not realizing, I guess, that they've passed and their spouse isn't there. I'll see if I can remove them, but it may require Alex's assistance or approval to remove them. That's not uncommon. Because this is Alex's experience to have and teaching moment, which is why I don't like to interfere or overstep, because I don't want to take away people's experiences or lessons. Every situation is different. I'm also feeling like if Alex wants to leave this person there, they can. They're not going to harm. Are they uncomfortable? Yes, but they're also not even acknowledging me. So it feels like this would have to be something where Alex needs to intervene because it's Alex's space.
Pues está muy interesante, y justo lo que sintió esta mujer que contó en el video coincide con lo que le dijeron estos investigadores paranormales que fueron a su casa, visitaron el lugar y estuvieron haciendo pruebas. Entonces creo que definitivamente hay algo ahí. Hay algunas cositas que a lo mejor pueden tener explicación, pero por ejemplo lo de la mano no creo. Sobre todo desde que la vecina le contó que también tenía la marca de una mano en la ventana. Pues quién sabe si se haya reunido o se vaya a reunir Alex con esta mujer, pero sería muy interesante. Y también sería interesante que lo grabara, porque contó esto de los investigadores paranormales que fueron a su casa, pero no enseñó nada, no grabó nada. Es lo que les digo, no es como que quiera exprimir este tema y hacerse creador de contenido, hacerse famoso, ganar dinero, porque pues simplemente no lo está haciendo. O sea, no está subiendo tantos videos, no está abusando del tema. Entonces, no sé ustedes qué opinan, me encantaría leerlo en los comentarios. Yo la verdad sí creo que hay algo extraño ahí. Además, solo la idea de que vive en los montes Apalaches ya me da mucha cosa, la verdad. Esto de que tengan que cerrar las cortinas, las puertas, todo cuando empieza a oscurecerse porque pasan cosas, yo no sé si podría. O sea, yo donde vivo me da miedo a veces asomarme en la ventana en las noches, y eso que pues no hay nada o nunca he visto nada de criaturas o cosas así extrañas. Entonces yo definitivamente no hubiera elegido ese lugar para vivir, pero bueno. Y bueno, cuéntenme en los comentarios ustedes qué opinan de todo esto. También si tienen algunas teorías, si saben algo más sobre este tema, déjenlo en los comentarios, ahí los voy a estar leyendo. Y eso es todo, espero que les haya gustado mucho. No olviden darle like y suscribirse. También síganme en todas mis redes sociales, porque estoy subiendo contenido de terror todos los días. Gracias por el video, les mando un beso enorme y nos vemos mañana. Bye.